U.S. forces found what looked like an abandoned shack in the Caribbean jungle. But the second they stepped inside, motion sensors lit up, cyanide traps armed, and the countdown began. What they discovered next changed U.S. policy forever. Visual cues: aerial drone view, thermal view, blip detected. Sensor light flashes, jungle fog, countdown timer, flashing red 009. There were no roads, no electricity, no satellite pings. For 3 months, U.S. recon drones passed overhead. No movement, no heat, nothing, until one night. A single flash of thermal, a heat signature, lit up a patch of jungle for less than 5 seconds. Just enough to say, "We're still here." The CIA flagged it. JSOC answered. A joint strike force was assembled. Navy SEALs, DEA Intel, Coast Guard Recon, and a bomb disposal unit straight out of the Middle East. But they weren't after a jungle meth shack. They were expecting something much darker. They jumped in under moonless skies. Halo drop. Total blackout. They landed silently miles away and hiked through tangled canopy under NVG. The first signs? Not guards, not patrols, but technology. Zigzagging laser mines, pressure plates disguised as roots, tripwires connected to gas canisters. One SEAL whispered over comms, "This feels like Syria, but it smells like bleach and death." The team circled wide, running thermal again, and saw zero heat. That meant one thing: it was airlocked from the inside. They reached the main shack. Cracked doors, rusted hinges, but no damage. A trap disguised as time. They breached low and fast. Inside, stainless steel, beakers, fans, rows of burners, precision mixers. But this wasn't cocaine. They found racks of fentanyl analogs, synthetic opioids stronger than anything on the streets. Mixed in, xylazine, experimental psychotropics, and sealed containers labeled with initials they'd only seen in military biothreat briefings. Then they saw it, a tripwire leading to a homemade thermobaric device, packed with fuel gel and shrapnel. This wasn't just a lab, it was a trap. And still, one question hung in the air. Why did this place need biometric locks, surgical lighting, and a reinforced floor beneath the drain? Steel hatch led below. Downstairs, they found a windowless room, colder than the rest, lit only by a flickering bulb. Inside, a crude operating table, freezers, flash drives, and one sealed titanium case. The flash drives were labeled in Spanish military code. In one freezer, labeled tissue samples. In another, a severed hand, tattooed with a U.S. military eagle and partially burned, as if someone tried to destroy the evidence. But the worst part? One container had a beating heart, still faintly active from preservation serum. "Human. We came looking for coke," one SEAL said, "and found a death lab." This wasn't a smuggling site. This was a biochemical test facility. Encrypted data later recovered from the lab traced to darknet buyers, organized crime groups, foreign actors, and black market defense contractors. The cartel wasn't just funding this. They were field testing it, making synthetic drugs for warfare, not profit.
And U.S. officials now believe this lab was part of a global prototype program: high-yield biotoxins, psychoaggression compounds, and substances designed to mimic disease outbreaks. This wasn't a drug war. It was a rogue state's WMD factory, outsourced to the jungle. That lab was destroyed, but the intel lives on. The U.S. is now tracking 3 more sites, believed to be part of the same operation. Somewhere out there, more labs, more traps, and maybe more experiments still running. So here's the real question. If this is what the US found, what's still hidden out there? Comment "lab" if you think there's more the public hasn't seen. Subscribe for real ops, real intel, and stories from the shadow war you won't hear anywhere else.